Wenatchee held its breath at the edge of two worlds, river low and slow. The whispering orchards, a deceptive light that always threatened to slide west. The thing that called my name stood on its hind legs across the water, waiting.
My brother swung on the playground swing, too big for it now, his eyes fixed on the opposite bank. A childish shove died in my throat when I heard someone whisper my name. It was my name, the way Emily used it to annoy me. But Emily wasn't there, only the sun, turning the grass into an ocean of sun-bleached bone. Across the river, the thing stood like a deer, but wrong. Too tall, shoulders too broad, knees bent the wrong way. Light bled off it in patches. It wasn't an animal grimace. The lips formed syllables. The voice came, intimate and crisp, as though someone had slipped into my ear. Anna. My name. Not Emily's. Not mine the way I know it. Just my name. Pit-stopped and warm. My brother finally saw me and jolted. "Did you see that?" he asked, his voice hollow. We stumbled toward the house, two small children pretending composure. Inside, light was the same, but softer lamps, the smell of browned butter in the kitchen. Tammy called us to dinner. We ate. We made jokes. We left the window open and pretended the sound of the river was nothing but river. That night, we texted, under covers. We argued, half-jokingly, about what we'd seen. He said it called his name as well. I remember that line, because I had been certain the voice was mine alone, the voice only I would answer to. He swore it had said his name first. We didn't tell anyone in the house. The thought of being laughed at felt worse than the thing itself. A year later, my brother came into my room like someone entering a room that had been robbed of sleep. He said he'd read, he'd searched. Skinwalker, he said, as if presenting a diagnosis. He told me things slowly, how these creatures mimic voices, how they learn small intimacies to drag people away. He spoke of shapeshifters and of creatures that wore skins to walk among us, and I could see the weight of those words sitting on his shoulders. I listened and felt both horror and the brittle relief of explanation. Monsters with names are easier to avoid. He told Dad. Dad didn't laugh. He'd grown up on stories that crawled across campfires. He crossed himself, set a few salt lines along the windowsill, like someone closing a wound. After that, my brother stopped taking the back road to school. He chose his steps like one still wearing a bandage over a sore. The thing I remember most about that afternoon is the particular way the river silenced itself when it spoke. Water holding its breath, so a name could be plucked clean. The creature's face was wrong in a way I couldn't hold. Too much of something and not enough of anything else.
Animal instinct without animal mercy. Human recognition without humanity.
We haven't been back to Wenatchee. My brother dreams in fragments, running feet on a slope, a hinge of a jaw opening, his own name called in voices he can't tell from his own.
He doesn't tell the story unless he wants to retake it to make it mean something less. When he does, his hands tremble like someone who has been carrying an ache too long. Sometimes, when the wind is right and we are both quiet, I think I hear it again.
Not the full syllable, not the kindness of a neighbor calling across fences. Just the shape of my name, edged in something that isn't a voice, but a device. A very old, patient thing. Learning the pitch of a child's name so it might be used later when we are out alone. We like to imagine it as an animal to fit our fear into something that can be hunted, named, explained. We like to think we could have walked closer, shouted, smashed a stick. Those are safe fantasies. The real terror is simpler and more precise, an intelligence that calls you by name and waits to see whether you will answer. The field is still tilted toward the river in my memory. The hill still wants you to fly. When a voice from the wrong side of the world knows your name, the world changes its shape. The lines people draw to keep monsters outdoors. Salt. Stories do not always last. They are only useful until you hear yourself called by something that must not know you.